What's going on? This is the Accidental Overlander. I am Ryan, the rookie overlander who is filming my journey so I can make the mistakes that hopefully you can learn from. And today we're going to talk about 5 things that I do not like about my Lexus GX 470. Now remember, when I'm giving you the review of this Lexus GX 470, I'm not a car guy, I'm not a camping guy. I'm just starting to get into this and then learn some things as I go along. So most of my problems that I'll have with this car could probably be different than a lot of the problems that some other people have. I'm a father, with a family of 4, so I'm taking all these things into consideration. Number 1, just the storage space in general. From the glove box to the center console. I wouldn't even call it a center console. It's this little mini, I don't know, this little mini square. The pockets in the doors don't have a ton of space. And even for it being a pretty big car body wise, there's not a ton of space in the trunk either. And even when you fold the seats down, I don't know. I mean, I'll get into that in another thing that I don't like about the car, so I'll talk about that in a second. But just in general, there's not a ton of space anywhere. The cup holders aren't great. You actually have to buy something, a little insert for the cup holders that a couple people make that are really helpful, but it kind of sucks that you have to go out and buy an extra piece just so your cup holder works really well. So that is my number 1 thing, especially with a family of 4, straight storage space. The number 2 thing that isn't great about this car is trying to get aftermarket parts for it. Although in the last year, I've seen way more people having parts for Lexus GX 470s and 460s, where when I first got this car and I was trying to find parts for it, it was really hard, and all the parts I could find are expensive, which that still is the case, but finding parts for a car when you're trying to go off-road, it's going to be expensive. There's a few parts you can get for maybe some Jeeps that aren't going to really break the bank, but as far as this car goes, when you want bumpers and aftermarket suspension and all that stuff, it's going to be pricey. But when I first got it, it wasn't even easy to find. You would only have 1 or 2 bumpers to choose from, and now there are a ton of bumpers to choose from. When I was first looking for rock sliders, there's a couple companies, and now every company's probably making a rock slider for this Lexus GX 470. And don't get me wrong, before the companies were specifically making it for this car, you were able to maybe buy one from a 4Runner, or you could get one from Australia for the Land Cruiser Prado, which is essentially the same car, and make it fit. But with my experience, trying to make things fit isn't where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. Cheaper the better, but I also want it to last me a long time too, so I'm not trying to skimp on everything I buy. It's still not as easy to find things for this car as, say, a 4Runner or a Jeep. So there's that to look into when you're getting this car for specific off-road purposes. We are going to go outside for number 3. So the third thing that bugs me about my Lexus is the way these back seats fold down. It's super convenient to do. You could probably do it one-handed if you wanted to. It's going to be a little harder for me to do because I have the baby seat in there, so when I go to push it down one-handed, the baby seat will catch it. But it's not so much the act of putting it down, it's the finished product after you put the seats down. I'll show you what I mean. So now I have the seats folded down, which is very easy to do, but you see that you lose out on all this storage space by them folding down like this rather than into the floor, which is how at least my old 4Runner used to do. This was well before I was camping, but So you probably lose on whatever this is, you know, 8 to 10 inches of storage space going straight back here. And then also when I've slept in the back of this, which I've done 2 or 3 times, at least I'm not a super tall guy, but when I have done it, it's been kind of tough because I'm certainly not being able to spread my legs at all, and I probably only need an extra 5 inches to be able to spread my legs. So, you know, if you had an extra 8 to 10, it would make it a lot easier. A lot of people, when they build their shelving in the back, they'll set it up to when it's only halfway down, and that way they can lay their feet right across this, which I would love to do in the future, but it's just not something I'm doing right now. But that is the number 3 thing that bugs me. The number 4 thing I do not love about this Lexus GX 470, and yes, I can go as far as to say, is I hate it. The gas mileage sucks. The reader on here, it says it gets about 13-14 miles a gallon. I don't know how accurate that is. I know when I fill it up, it tells me I have about 300 miles till empty. I don't know how accurate that is. I also know that all the new things I keep adding to the truck are not helping the gas mileage. When we're loaded down for a camping trip, that is not helping either. It also doesn't help that from the factory it tells you that you're supposed to put the most expensive gas in there, but it is what it is. I mean, that's not a surprise. It, you know, it's such a given, it almost shouldn't even be in this list. It's kind of like a gimme, but I'm putting it in there because it has to be said, and it does suck going to get gas every single week because the gas mileage sucks so bad. A long range fuel tank I would certainly love to get in the future, but we will see. And finally, the 5th thing that I don't love about this Lexus. No, it's not all the jealous looks I get when I drive down the street, although that was close. It is just the fact that inside the cab, it's hard to mount things. Not only the recalled dashboard that's beginning to crack, but nothing has a flat surface. Everything seems to be rounded, as if that's going to make it seem fancier just because it isn't a flat surface. But there's nothing that's making it easy for me to mount, you know, my phone for navigation or an iPad for navigation. There are new things being made that are going to help me out with that when I do decide to go that route, but there's nothing that's easy. Even the panels on the front that aren't on the dashboard have some kind of curve on them, so not that it's going to be impossible, but it just makes things kind of a pain in the butt. There you go. Those are my 5 things that I do not love about my Lexus GX 470. I hope they helped you out if you were trying to make a decision on buying this car. If you have any other questions for me, don't hesitate to ask. I have no problem trying to help you out, even though I'm not the brightest car guy. I'll try to help you out any way I can, because that's the whole reason I'm having this channel, is just to prove that even if you're not a camper or a car guy, you can still go out and just try to do whatever you want. So hopefully we'll see you on the next modification or adventure. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.